Thank you for your interest in the Milescraft 3D Pantograph model number 1298. Before getting started, you'll need to create a work surface. We recommend you use plywood cut to 48 inches long by 20 inches wide. Take a moment to ensure that all of the necessary components as listed in the manual are present and in good condition. If you find something is missing or broken, please contact Milescraft immediately so we can remedy the problem. First, we'll get started by assembling the pantograph. Insert the stylus into the handle of the tracing arm, then attach the appropriate nut to the stylus. Finally, tighten the locking nut to hold it in place. Next, insert the tracing arm into the right socket of the back arm assembly, then do the same for the shorter support arm in the left socket. Align the arms to allow the small nubs inside of the sockets to come through the pre-drilled holes in the tubes. With both arms in their sockets, rest the entire assembly on the table upside down. Attach the socket caps and tighten both of the screws on both sides to ensure the arms are properly secured in place. Now that the arms are fully secured in their sockets, flip the assembly back over. There are 3 different reduction settings. If you install the router base in the set of pre-drilled holes closest to the stylus, your router will cut designs that are 40% of the size of the template. The second set of holes will yield 50%, and the third set will yield a carving 60% the size of the template. To attach the router base to the tracing arm, place the arm in the router base pivot with a small nub coming through the appropriate pre-drilled hole in the tube for your chosen reduction setting. Insert the appropriate nuts into the slots in the router base pivot. Attach the router base pivot cap and secure it in place by tightening both screws. Repeat these steps to attach the router base to the support arm. Attach the appropriate nuts to the long support bolts. Insert them through the holes at each end of the rear arm assembly until they are extended a ½ inch below the rear arm assembly. Attach the small round plastic shoe to the side with the tracer arm. The triangular shoe with pre-drilled holes will be for the side with the support arm. Attach the triangular shoe to the work surface by driving 3 screws through the pre-drilled holes. The workpiece you'll be routing needs to be properly secured and supported. This is done by attaching a scrap piece of plywood at least 3 inches by 10 inches by 3/4 inch thick. It's crucial the support fence is square to the work surface and should be located approximately 20 inches down the work surface from the back. Next, place the stock against the support fence and then measure 2 3/8 inches in front of it. This measurement is for attaching a second piece of scrap that will help to wedge the stock in place. To wedge the stock securely, simply push the wedges together between the material and the front fence and gently tap on one edge until they are tight and the material is solidly secured. Next, insert the router bit of your choice into your router's collet and secure it as directed by the router's manufacturer. To mount the router into the router base, insert the appropriate bolts through the bottom of the router base. Add the router clamps to the top of the router base. Also, install the wing nuts. Place your router in the center of the router base. Position the router clamps over the base of the router and tighten the wing nuts until the router is completely secured. Adjust the long support bolts at the back of the pantograph to ensure that both the rear arm assembly and the support arm are parallel to the work surface. If you find one side is higher than the other, simply loosen the locking nut of the support bolt and raise or lower as needed. Once it's adjusted, retighten the locking bolt to hold everything in place. Now the 3D pantograph is assembled and ready for use. Included with the 3D pantograph are 5 different lettering fonts that you can choose from to customize your sign. They are Computer, Modern, Script, Far East, and Old English. You can also trace any font or line drawing you can print from your computer. Children's coloring books can also provide many ideas. Insert the selected template into the clear plastic protective sheet and properly secure it in place at the bottom right corner of the work surface with push pins. Adjust the stylus to 1/32 of an inch above the surface of the template and tighten the locking nut to hold the stylus in place. To determine the depth of cut, set the router base on the work surface and plunge it down until the bit rests on the workpiece. Then adjust the depth gauge to your desired depth of cut as recommended by your router manufacturer. Move the router tray back off the material and plunge the router to the preset depth. Turn the router motor on. Holding both the support and tracing arms, raise the entire assembly off the material and swing it into place, slowly bringing the stylus down inside of the template and the router bit into the workpiece. It's important to hold both handles of the tracing arm, as this will give you a greater amount of control when tracing. When tracing with the pantograph, work slowly and follow the outside lines of the letters, working in a counterclockwise direction. Then, with small strokes, move the stylus throughout the inside of the template to clear out the material from the workpiece. A slow and steady pace will give you the best results. Try to avoid sudden stops and starts, as this can lead to imperfections in the workpiece. Once the tracing has been completed, lift the entire assembly off the workpiece and swing the router to the side. Turn off the motor. Inspect the letter you routed to ensure that the material has been completely removed from the letter in the workpiece. To ensure the appropriate spacing, each template has locator dots to facilitate proper positioning. With the router turned off, lift up the assembly and move the stylus over the top of the dot to the right of the letter you just routed. Mark on the workpiece where the router bit touches, then lift and swing the pantograph out of the way. While holding the plastic sheet in place, remove the push pins and the current letter template. Replace the template with the next letter you will route and secure in place with the push pins. Loosen the wedges securing the stock. Swing the pantograph back over and place the stylus on the locator dot to the left of the letter you are about to route. Lift up the router base and adjust your workpiece so the router bit lines up with your pencil mark. Secure the workpiece with the wedges and route the next letter. Repeat for each letter you will route. Remove your workpiece and finish your sign as desired. For the advanced user, the 3D pantograph can also be used for intricate and detailed 3D carvings as well.